Good night to everyone. Good Friday evening. Tonight, we are going to talk about the dispute process. I think I shared let me see if my whiteboard, yes. So yeah, I have to take notes and jot down whatever we want to talk about, or I'm gonna forget the order I want to talk about some stuff in. So I got my little whiteboard that I'm gonna share. Oh, is it? Um, all right. So I do believe that y'all will be able to see my whiteboard as I shared on one of my posts earlier. I'm still learning Zoom. Still learning Zoom. All right, so it's 8 o'clock. I am going to go ahead and get started. When it comes to disputes and disputing items that's on your consumer reports, during your dispute process, you want to do a security freeze on all three of the consumer reports: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. We're going to freeze them all. We're not going to do no inquiries. We're not going to do any credit applications. We are not going to be doing anything but credit repair. Nothing but fixing the credit. Nothing but getting deletions. Okay? So we're not going to be doing any credit applications. I need to make this a little quicker, y'all. I can't say that. There we go. Oh, oh. Um, I need to go to my prior one. It's okay. Um, so yes, that's how we start off with doing disputes. We are going to do security freeze on Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and then we're not going to be trying to fill out no credit applications for any auto loans, personal loans, credit cards. We ain't gonna be doing nothing. All that's gonna be canceled out because we need to get these consumer reports together first. We got to get all these negative items off. We got to get all these late payments off. We got to get these collections off. Them 30 inquiries, 15 inquiries, 45 inquiries. We got to get all that stuff off before we do anything else as far as when it comes to applying for new credit. All right. Also, when it comes to disputes, when I do my disputes, I use the certified receipts. Shay, you want to bring them to receipts that I use? Shay, the the two green receipts that I use. You bring the empty ones so I can show you. When I send off my disputes, definitely to the consumer reporting agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And then when it comes to collections, I know sometimes LVNV Funding and Wakefield and Associates are two of the collection agencies normally that I have an issue with sometimes with a lot of consumer reports. They like to fight. You like to we request debt validation. They'll send those itemized statements, and that's not validating debt. So I like to send those green certified receipts and the green return receipts, which shows that they have actually been signed for and received. When it comes to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, they like to stall a lot. Sometimes they just don't respond at all. And I use those just to show proof, if it needs to go further, that they received the letters, that they just refuse to open and doing a reinvestigation. Um, I want to go back to a prior slide before this one. You got it? It's in the baskets. Oh, no. Okay, here we go, right here. All right, so we're going to go Back a slide, y'all. Is this the only one I included? Nope, I got it, y'all. I'm figuring it out. So on my previous um on my previous videos I've done, I kind of explained the key factors in developing 850 credit score. So I'm gonna start back over because I'm not sure if y'all was able to see those, because I know when I was sharing it, the passcode was there for y'all to enter, but I don't know if y'all saw the passcode. You can get the other one too, the other big one. I don't know if y'all saw the passcodes to use to get in so that you can see, but this is and hopefully y'all can see this. I'm holding up real high because I got my whiteboard at the bottom, so it's like half of my screen. But this is the green return receipt, the certified mail receipt that I sent off with my letters. You can track the shipping, and you can track it to see when they got delivered. I send these with the ones to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and I send it with the collections because I like to keep track. All right, so when we are doing disputes, I like to first go over what is the key factors in developing an 850 score. Okay, because the score the score is separate from the actual credit report. So I'm gonna go over that first, and then we're gonna go step by step as far as the dispute process. So the five key factors in developing an 850 credit score is the payment history, credit utilization, the length of the credit history, credit mix, and new accounts. Of course, payment history means that you're paying every single account on time. There's no reported late payments. No 30. You don't see 30, 60, or 90 or 120. You don't see where it says charge off. It's paid on time. The credit utilization is 30%. That's as far as the usage when it comes to your credit card. So, say for instance, if you have a Navy Federal credit card, 200, if you've used more than 10% of that, which is $20, or if you've used like 100 or 150, you will have a high credit utilization. So that 30% you won't have because of the high utilization, right? Let's say that you've had an account on your consumer report for like 5 years. Okay, that's the length of credit history. That's that 15%. The credit mix, that means that you have a credit card, auto loan, maybe a timeshare or a regular mortgage or a personal loan. That's a credit mix that counts 10% of the actual score. And then the new accounts is the inquiries. You only need to have four or less inquiries on every single consumer report in agency. Four on Equifax, four on Experian, and four on TransUnion. All right. Now the big question: how do I get 850? Well, we know that the lowest score that you can have is 300. So they say, right? So it's from 300 to 850. Now let's do a little math. If you subtract 300 from 850, that's 550 points, right? So now check this out. Within that 550 points that you need to add to that 300 to get that 850, that's where those key factors come into place. All right. So where you see on the slide where it says points gained from each category, I have broke it down so that you can understand. So out of that 550 points, 35% of that 550, which means you're going to divide, right? It's 192.50 points for your payment history, right? So that means every time you pay an account on time, you're going to get 192.50 points, right? Your credit utilization, that's 30% of your score. So if 30% of 550 is 165, every time that you keep your credit utilization down to that 10% or less, you're going to get your 165 points. Length of credit history, that's 15%. So 15% of 550 is 82.50 points, right? So You've had your account 5 years. You've had Navy Federal for 5, 6, 7, 8. So every year that you've had this account is added on that additional 15%. Okay, because it's the length of the credit history. All right, there has to be an open active account, not a closed account, but an open active account. New accounts, those inquiries, 4 inquiries or less, that's 10% of 550, which is 55 points. And then your credit mix, as I explained, credit card, auto loan, or personal loan. You can have 7 credit cards with 1 auto loan and 1 personal loan. Those are still a mix of accounts because those are different types of accounts. So that's 10%, which is 55 points. Now, if you look to the right of the slide, I added up all of these points, and that's what gets you your 550 points that you need to get to that 850 score. So that is how you get your 850 score. Okay. All right. So now that we know the key factors in developing our 850 score and how to get to 850, it's time to play cleanup woman. It's time to play cleanup man. All right. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull a copy of your consumer report from all the consumer reporting agencies. And you can go to annual credit report. You're going to pull from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. All right. Now, once you pull your consumer report, you're going to then analyze your report. You need to look into your personal information section. You need to see if your name is spelled wrong or is somebody else's name on there. You know, if your name is put on there like 15, 10 or 20 times, you need to see if there's 50 addresses on there. If there's any other address than the current address that you're currently residing in, those addresses need to come off. Outdated addresses need to come off. Addresses where you never live, just used as a mailing address, they need to come off. Okay. Any phone numbers that you don't use, that you have not used, that's never been tied to you, that you've never had before, those need to be removed. Your date of birth, social security number is your right of privacy, has no business of being on your consumer report. That needs to come off. All right. So clean up your personal information on your consumer report. All right. So again, this is doing our analyzing, checking to see exactly what we need to do. And then you're going to look in the accounts, look for accounts that you have, see if you have any charge offs, any late payments, evictions, bankruptcies, child support, repossessions, those particular accounts. All right. Get you a highlighter. Go ahead and start highlighting all of this stuff while you're going over your consumer report to see exactly what you have that needs to come off. All right. Collections. If you have more than 4 inquiries, or there are inquiries that's on there that you know that you have not been to a dealership and completed a credit application. I'm going to say that again. If you have inquiries that is not tied to an account that's on your consumer report and you have not been physically to that dealership to complete a credit application, those inquiries needs to come off. Okay? Collections needs to come off. All right? So now we have our consumer report. We got all our highlights. Now it's time for us to dive in and go ahead and attack these accounts. Let's go ahead and get these accounts deleted. So the first thing that you're going to do when it comes to your dispute process is clean up the personal information first. Because if you have old information like addresses, definitely addresses. If you have old, outdated information as such as an address that's tied to one of those accounts that's on your consumer report, they will not delete it. She's fine. They're not going to delete it. So the first thing you want to do is send remove a personal information letter to the consumer reporting agencies. All right. You want to do that first. Give it time for them to receive it and then to remove that information. Once you see that information is removed, now we can move on to the next section. You can start off with, let's say you have a Navy Federal car loan. This car loan you've had for 5 to 6 years, but you only have 3 late payments. Now, let's think about this. Do you want to remove the whole entire account, or do you just want to go after the late payment? The smartest thing that would be that you would want to do would just go after the late payments, because if you delete the whole entire account, not only will it get rid of the late payments, but you're going to receive a decrease in your credit score, because you will no longer have that length of credit history for the 6 years that you've had the actual auto loan on your consumer report. So that's why you want to be careful when you're analyzing your consumer report about what it is that you want to delete. We definitely want to delete inaccuracies. We definitely want to delete accounts that's not ours. Okay? But we want to be careful about how we dispute these items to guarantee deletions. Okay? Now, say for instance, if going back to the inquiries, let's say you go to the dealership, you've been to Honda then pulled your credit report and they done sent it to 20 different credit lenders. So now you got 20 inquiries on your consumer report. Okay? So now we're talking about permissible purpose. Permissible purpose. Who gave those lenders permission to pull your consumer report? Did you physically go into those lender offices and fill out credit applications? Did you fill out a credit application with Capital One? Did you fill out a credit application with Alley Financial or whatever lenders? Did you physically fill out a credit application? No, you did not. So now we can send a letter to the consumer reporting agencies and to the creditors saying, hey, I got these inquiries on here. I don't have any accounts and I have never applied or have completed a credit application. Where is the permissible purpose? If they cannot give you or provide you with permissible purpose, those inquiries have to be removed. Or you actually can call and speak to the fraud department in Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And all you have to say is, hey, I don't recognize these inquiries. I have never completed a credit application with these inquiries. They need to be removed. Remember, we are not removing inquiries that's tied to an account. It's a possibility that whole account is going to be closed out. So we're only removing inquiries that's not tied to an account. Let's say you have a charge off. Let's go ahead and start attacking these charge offs next. The way you want to attack these charge offs is by using a method that we call a late payment method. In order for a charge off to appear, that means you have to be late more than 120 days. So you want to send a letter off, you can send it to the creditor and the consumer reporting agency. And you want to request the statements that they should have sent to you 21 days prior under the Truth in Lending Act 1666B, 1637B. Okay. There are rules and laws that has to be followed before they can just furnish anything onto y'all's consumer report. Also, when it comes to furnishing negative information, creditors have to provide you with a negative information letter. They have to send it to you before they can even furnish it onto your consumer report. All right. And as y'all can see, I'm not going too deeply into the laws. I'm not teaching too deeply into the laws because I'm just going over it. Because that's what I teach in my university, which is the Rebirth University. And that's what I go over in some of my mentorships. So if you want to really learn the laws and to really use the laws, and want me to really help you when it comes to doing the credit repair, you need to join my university, the Rebirth University. And yeah, I do offer Klarna. So when you see the prices, don't let the prices scare you. All right. I've been there before. But I do offer Klarna because I know, things happen. Things happen to people all the time. Y'all got bills, you know, you got to take care of your family, kids. So let's use Klarna as at these checkouts. So we can go ahead and start attacking this stuff together. Now, back to the charge offs. So as I was saying before, when you have a charge off on your account, a charge off is only there because of you being late 120 plus days or more. So now they have charged off the account. So when it comes to disputing, we're going to dispute the late payments, because if they cannot prove that they sent you all the statements that showed you the statements 21 days before your due date for you to make a payment on the account, they cannot furnish that charge off. It cannot be reported to your consumer report. So that's how we remove charge offs. All right. Now, if y'all have anything else that's like an auto loan or eviction, repos, there's also laws for that as well. But that's why you need to join my university, or get one-on-one mentorship, or join a group membership, mentorship, so that I can help you all with these letters, and you all can have access to my letters, and you can use my letters to do for these disputes. All right. So that's how you dispute your consumer report. All right. Like I said before, the first thing that you would do is you want to print out a copy of all your consumer reports. You want to analyze every single one of your consumer reports. Anything that's not yours, inaccurate, misspelling, whatever the case may be, or whatever it is that you want to delete, you want to highlight, you want to go ahead and start getting your letters prepared and getting those letters out to dispute those accounts. You don't do anything first, but get rid of your personal information first. All right? That has to be done first. Get the letter out for your personal information to the consumer reporting agencies. Give it time for them to receive it and to remove those accounts. After that, it's go time. Also, when it comes to disputing, do them in sections. Don't do like 20 accounts at one time, 30 accounts at one time, 10 accounts. No. Just do the inquiries first, then do your late payments, and then do your collections, or however you use it, what you want to do it. But don't put everything all at one time in one dispute. All right. And as I said before earlier in the call, it's going to be like me to track your letters. Make sure that your letters are delivered. Get the certified mail receipts. All right. Use these to track your letters. Let's see. I want to go over some things here. All right. Let me see if I can make this big here. So I'm just going to give y'all some laws to use really quick on my slide here. So when it comes to the inquiries that I was speaking about, the law for permissible purpose is 15 USC 1681B. There's only 3 reasons why a creditor should pull your consumer report, and that's for institution of credit, employment, and insurance. That's it. All right. Also down here is 18 USC 1028A, aggravated identity theft. Okay, that law specifically states any creditor or furnisher that possesses, uses, or obtain your information without legal authority is an act of aggravated identity theft. So you can use those 2 laws together, and then you can go to GPT chat, or the chat GPT, and it will create a letter for you. You can use those 2 laws, and you can actually send those to the creditors also. And the creditors are the people, or the person who's furnished those inquiries onto your consumer report. All right. So on this slide, I also, as you can see, I also have some little homework assignments for you all to do, which is very simple. And as I stated before, this is what you would do if you are prepared to start over and to leave 2025 debt free. All right. So the first thing you want to do for your homework assignment, we're going to go ahead and obtain a copy of your consumer reports from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You can do that by annualcreditreport.com. There's no fee. It's free. Once you actually get into it, it's going to have like some verification questions. It's going to pull it up for you. If you look in the upper right hand corner, it's going to say you can print or save. When you click on that link, it's going to come up in a box like it's going to, like the print box that it comes up with. And on your left hand side, instead of you actually printing it out, you can click on the printer that comes up and you can select PDF, and they'll allow you to save it to your computer or your laptop, desktop, phone, whatever it is that you're using, iPad. You can actually save every single one of them. All right. Then, as I stated, you want to identify all outdated information, address, employees, duplicate names, check for, inquiries, collections, whatever it is that you have. Let's go ahead and identify everything, do a good analysis, make sure everything is highlighted. And then you're going to send a deletion letter for the personal information to the consumer reporting agencies, as I said before. And you're going to use 15 USC 1681A4 and 15 USC 1681B. All right. You also can include 15 USC 1681N because why? If they do not remove inquiries, or let's say for instance, if there's 20 inquiries and 10 of those inquiries don't have any account attached to them and there's no proof of permissible purpose, well, 15 USC 1681N is how you get compensated for it. Okay, if there's no permissible purpose, you can get paid up to $1,000 for those inquiries. Each one of those inquiries being reported to your consumer report. So that's why I included that, because it's the same as personal information. If they refuse to delete personal information, which is inaccurate information, refuse to delete inaccurate information from your consumer report, that's also the same thing. It's just pretty much telling them, they of course they're out of compliance, but it's $1,000 for that violation. So you can throw that in there. You guys can also go to google.com and put those laws in that I have in there instead of those laws for yourself. Like I said, I'm not going too deep into those laws because I teach those laws in my university. So I'm just going, just going through it with you all to tell you all what to include in your letters. Again, you can go to ChatGPT, ask them to create a deletion letter for you using those laws, and you want to make sure that it's tailored to your particular situation. All right. And then the last one is just pretty much saying, go ahead and send the inquiry deletion letter. The inquiry deletion letter using 15 USC 1681B, stating that you didn't fill out a credit application to that dealership, that there's no permissible purpose for them to obtain a copy of your consumer report, to delete the inquiry for such date immediately. So whatever date that it shows for that inquiry, that's the date that you would put in. You can put if they choose not to comply with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, since they have been put on notice, which means they have been put on notice by you being a consumer, that you have inaccurate information in your consumer report, of course, that they have stolen your identity by obtaining and using your personal information without permission, according to 18 USC 1028A. Use ChatGPT for generation of letters as well, as I stated. So that's going to be pretty much it for tonight. That's just a few key pointers of starting to clean up your consumer report. I may see you guys tomorrow, maybe not sure, but I will see you all, and maybe we can discuss a little bit more later. But tonight, let's try to get some of this homework done, and let's start cleaning up these consumer reports. Y'all have a good night.